You are now listening to the smooth sensations and high vibrations of Alex, host of the best relationship channel on YouTube. Alex, drop them gems on us.
You got a big bag, let me take. Show me where your friends at, we can flip that. Let me put you on the game. 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 Show you where the red at, where the blue at. Show you where they flip that, where they bitch at. Let me put you on the game. Let me put you on the game. Let me put you on the game. Let me put you on the game right there.
What's going on, y'all? It's your boy Alex. Shout out to the Elite Fleet. Make sure you like and subscribe so you can become a member of the Elite Fleet. We are turning up the content this month. I started last month, but we're going to keep it going this month. You're going to see way more content, way more videos. Things are slowing down a little bit. A lot less is happening. So the content is going to be coming out, and we pumping it up over here. And I got asked a question that I think is a question I have not talked about in a very long time. So I want to answer it so I can help a lot of people out. Really quick, as always, if you want to ask a question, the link's in the description. You can send me a question you want to ask. I'll answer it in video format. And if it's a little bit more personal, it's a little bit more private, so you don't want to answer it in video format, then you can book a consultation through that same link, and we can have a one-on-one conversation about whatever it is you want to talk about in regards to your relationships and dating things. But the question I was asked was very simple. He said, Alex, I have been talking to this girl. She's bisexual. We really hitting it off. She wants to get into a relationship. Should I get in a relationship with her knowing that she's bisexual? Hell no. Absolutely not. I want you guys to know something. A crimson flag, one of the biggest red flags, that's why I said crimson flag, is someone telling you that they're bisexual. Never date a bisexual person. Even the ladies who are watching this video. This is really a gender neutral video. This is a gender neutral video. I'm going to talk about it from the male perspective, mostly because a male asked me this question, so I want to kind of tailor it to him. But even the ladies watching, everything I'm saying in this video is vice versa. Every single thing. So y'all shouldn't be dating bisexual people either. Nobody should be dating bisexual people. Why? Simple. Because bisexual people are sexual deviants. Now, understand, they're not the only sexual deviants, right? PDF files are sexual deviants, right? People who are selling their body for money are sexual deviants. People who have like 100 bodies are sexual deviants. So they're not the only sexual deviants, but they're one of the worst, and they're definitely undateable. Now, if you want to smash someone who's bi, I say knock yourself out. Bisexual people are some of the biggest freaks. So knock yourself out. If you're just going to smash, use protection. You should be using protection anyway. But I'm not going to tell you not to do that. But relationship, absolutely not. It's going to put you in hell. It's going to end bad every single time for this reason. Bisexual people don't have a type. I don't trust people who don't have a type. Everybody has a type. The biggest hoe you know has a type. She might be a hoe for athletes, right? She might be a hoe for people who are rich. She might be a hoe for people from the hood. She might be a hoe for white boys. She might be a hoe for tall people. Like, whatever, but she has a type. Nobody doesn't have a type. You understand what I'm saying? Bisexual people are so freaky that they'll sleep with whoever's in the room. I want you guys to understand something. You have lesbian and gay, right? Bisexual people are people who are just trisexuals. What do you mean by trisexuals, Alex? If a bisexual, most women who are bisexual are not really lesbian. Most men who are bisexual, men is 50-50. They might really be gay and be saying that they're bisexual because they want to have a woman as a beard and a cover up. But most of the time, most bisexual women are not really lesbians, and most bisexual men are not really straight. They're just covering it up, right? And the thing about them is they're so horny, they're so out of control that their big thing is whoever is around me can get me off. So what I mean by that is, if you're talking about a bisexual woman, for example, right? And I know this for a fact because there was this chick who, for example, I used to be cool with, like back in college, who told me that this was how she had her first lesbian experience, right? She doesn't consider herself bisexual. Let me tell you guys something. If you had your kitty licked, you're bisexual. Like, period. You don't get to get your kitty licked, then say you're not bisexual. See, a lot of you dudes be giving these bisexual girls too many passes that men never get. Y'all say, oh, well, it's different. No, it's not. It's the same thing. If you date someone bisexual, it's just as nasty. You're just as likely to get cheated on, right? But either way, getting back to her, she was just like, yeah, I don't like women or nothing like that. But we was at this pool party. I was drunk. I was horny. And she's like, oh yeah, I'll eat your cat. So I'm like, if you eat my cat, I'm not gonna turn it down. I need you guys to realize this is most bisexual people. So even for the studs, like I have a lot of friends who are studs, for example, right? Studs get cheated on all the time. Why? Because studs are masculine presenting women. So what happens is they want to date women who are traditionally feminine. So lipstick lesbians. The problem is 90% of lipstick lesbians are bisexual. AKA, they are not really gay. They're just freaky. They're not really lesbians. They're just freaky. So they're going to end up with a man or at least a kid 9 out of 10 times. A lot of women who are lipstick lesbians end up married, or they just end up with children, or they end up with both, married and with children, right? So the stud always gets hurt in the end. This is why I said even if you're a woman, I would not recommend dealing with someone who is bi, aka trisexual, right? But either way, her first lesbian experience came from the fact that she was just horny and it was a girl around. She wasn't even attracted to the girl. She's just like, yeah, I was horny, I'm drunk. She's like, I'm gonna eat the cat. I'm gonna let her eat the cat. Now, I wouldn't have to tell a woman 5 times that if a dude's just drunk and he's horny and another dude comes up like, yo, let me suck your D, if your man says, okay, not to deal with him. Women already know this. It's the men who I have to tell, you need to stay away from this woman. Because here's the early gem, right? Here's the early gem. The reason men are lighter on lesbians is because dudes think in their head, if I deal with a lesbian, I date a lesbian, when it's another girl, it's not another man, so I don't really care. It's not cheating, but it is, and we're going to come back to that, right? But they also think, and this is the main reason, they think they're going to get a threesome. The only reason men have this infatuation with bisexual women is because they think they're going to get a threesome. I'm going to tell you guys something. As a dude who's had multiple threesomes, as a dude who knows men and women who have done it, you're less likely to get a threesome from a bisexual woman than you are a straight one. As crazy as that sounds, you're less likely, all right? Especially if you're in a relationship. First of all, your likelihood of getting a threesome in a relationship is already slim to none. Women tend to do stuff like that with dudes they're highly attracted to, but not in love with or don't really like on that level. They're just attracted to them, right? That's number one. But here's the thing. Number two, bisexual women see y'all coming. They know when you date them that eventually the idea of having a threesome is going to come up. But here's the thing. Bisexual women are not going to give you that threesome. They're not going to give you that threesome. What they're going to do is they're going to deal with you, deny you the threesome, and then mess with another girl behind your back. Now, you can say all day, oh, it's not cheating if it's not another girl. But if you find out your girl has been messing around with another girl, you're going to be mad unless she lets you mess around with that girl. But she's not going to do that. For example, one of my old coworkers who became my friend, right? She was bisexual. She's married. She has 4 kids. So what she would do is every now and then, behind her husband's back, she would mess around with a woman. But they never had a threesome. Every time he brought it up, she would get mad, like, oh, you trying to bring an extra woman in, you don't love me that much, blah, 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 blah. But she was still freaking off with women behind this man's back. So it was no leverage for him to have her and her being bisexual. There was no leverage. The only thing he did was put himself in a situation where he had to watch men and women. Because she would cheat on them with men too. She would. If the dude was attractive enough, his money was up enough, or whatever the case may be, she would cheat on him with men too. So now, instead of just having to worry about one sex, he had to worry about 2 sex. All this dude did was multiply his problems by 2. Now he's getting cheated on. He got to watch every man who walked by. He got to watch every woman who walked by. And he can't even compete with the women. They have body parts and tools and things that they can do that you as a man, you can't compete with. You can't compete with. Like, you start talking to, gay men or women who hang with gay men, one or the other. They'll tell you, or I should say bisexual men, but I already told y'all most bisexual men are really gay, and they're just saying they're bisexual because they want a woman as a beard, but that's neither here nor there. You talk to most women who have gay male friends, or you talk to gay males directly, right, or bisexual males directly, and they'll tell you men, right, can get better head than women because they have stronger jaw muscles. This is something you would only know as a man if you were a trisexual. Now, here's my thing. Once you try, you're horny, you let a man suck you off, right, because you're horny. Now you realize a woman does not have the ability to ever give you the same intensity of pleasure that this man gave you. You're going to always seek that out. There's not going to be anything your wife can do, right, to match what that man did because she is not a man. So now you're going to constantly be cheating on your wife with a man. That's the same thing when you deal with a lesbian. You don't have C-cup titties or D-cup titties or double D, right? You can't thread with them. You can't eat them the same way a woman eats them. So the intensity, right, and the orgasm and the pleasure she's getting from that woman is completely different than the one she's getting from you in a way that you cannot compete with. So she's gonna always cheat on you. So this idea, well, if I did a bisexual woman, we'll get to have threesomes and stuff. It's irrelevant. Listen, my 2 threesomes, both were with straight women. All right, one was with this white chick, you know what I mean, and it just went down. That wasn't my girl. It just went down that way. Another one was with one of my homegirls who I had smashed from time to time, you know what I mean, and then one of her friends came over and we was all just drinking, just chilling, and it just went down that way. But with a girlfriend, it's never happened that way. I tried with one girlfriend. I got the same thing most dudes get, which is, oh my God, I'm in love with you. I don't want to do this, blah, 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 blah. It's not going to change because you have a bisexual woman. You think it is, but it isn't. What she's going to tell you, again, I've had women I've dated, right? And then they popped out and said they were fake bisexual. I used to have these same conversations with them, like, why are you pretending to be bisexual? You know you're not bisexual. So you about to go out here and hurt some stud's feelings because you're mad at men at the time. Because that's all they're doing. But I digress. That's neither here nor there. I've had situations like that, right? And what ends up happening is they'll get with the girl for a little bit. And at first they'll cheat on her with a man. Then eventually they'll leave her for a man. Because what you guys got to understand is most bisexual women do desire at the end of the day to be married, right? And have kids. And if they can't be married and have kids, at least just have kids. This is why a lot of the time you will see studs raising kids. And you'll be like, how is this stud raising the kid? Most of the time, they didn't adopt that kid. They didn't artificially assimilate or nothing. This woman already had a child. Then she decided to go and date a woman. But the thing is, you can't pipe her down. You're not a man. Now, you might have a dildo, right? But you talk to any woman who's bisexual. You can talk to any woman in general. She doesn't even have to be bisexual because a lot of them use toys anyway. They'll tell you a toy is cool because you can pick the size and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, it's not the same as having a warm body on top of you. It's not the same rhythm. It's not the same experience. You can't kiss in between. You're not getting rubbed. It's just not the same thing. It doesn't feel the same. It's not as warm. It doesn't have the same veins in it. It's not the same as the real thing. This is why women got 99 different toys, but they still always getting their back blown out by a man regardless. If it was the same thing, they wouldn't be doing that. It's not the same thing. You understand what I'm saying? So you can have your dildo. You can have any toys you want. She's going to want a man on top of her mounting her. She's going to want to hear that huffing, and she's going to hear that puffing, and she's going to want to feel those muscles and things that you just cannot provide as a woman. You can't do it. You can't replicate it. You can't replicate it. So it's going to get you in trouble. It's going to get you in trouble. And then, like I said, you got to, who wants to walk around worrying about, oh, I got a girl. I got to watch every dude who's attractive who walks by. I got to watch every woman who's attractive who walks by. There's no environment I can put her in where I feel safe. Vice versa. You know, if you're a woman, you're dating a bi man, which, like I said, most women already know not to do this. But you got to compete with the dudes and the women. You got to watch out for the dudes and the women. Who want to deal with that? And then I'll leave y'all with one more gem, one more reason why I tend to tell people not to date bisexual people, because these people are confused. It's one thing to say I'm a lesbian. It's one thing to say I'm gay. It's one thing to say I'm straight. It's one thing to say I'm trans even. It's a whole other thing to say I like men and women. How do you like men and women? No, you just like to get off at the end of the day. That's what it is. You like to get off and you don't care who's getting you off. But here's another big gem. Just like they'll a lot of the time say certain drugs could be gateways to other drugs, right? To me, being bisexual is a gateway into not just LGBTQ, but also in the PDF files. Also in the messing with teens, which I used to know what the term for liking teenagers was, but I forgot what it was. But to me, bisexual people are opening themselves up to, okay, this person's like 17, 16, but they look like a man. They look like a woman. They're opening up those doors. You open up because you're already sleeping with everybody anyway. You know what I mean? Her over there, him over there. So why not let this, 17-year-old get some? What's the difference? I'm not saying, nor am I accusing every bisexual person of doing that, but I'm saying they're opening up the gateway to that. At the end of the day, how could you be comfortable in a relationship with someone who has had experiences with and has a secret desire for something you don't have? If your man's got a secret desire for men, you can never replicate that as a woman. If your woman has a secret desire for women, you can never replicate that as a man. So why would you commit the rest of your life, or let's look past marriage, why would you even get into a relationship with someone who has a burning desire for something you can't offer? It makes no sense. It makes no sense. So, no, I don't think you should date her. I don't think anyone should date bisexual people. To me, bisexual people are just freaks. And like I said, if you want to mess around with them, you can mess around. I'm not telling you not to mess around with them, right? But they're freaks and they're sexual deviants. And I'm not going to tell someone to get into a relationship or a marriage with a known sexual deviant, male or female. I'm not going to do that. Again, I wouldn't even tell a gay man or a lesbian woman to get a relationship with someone who is bi because they know what they are. A gay man knows he's gay and he accepts it. A lesbian knows she's a lesbian and she accepts it. You don't know what a bisexual person is. The only thing you know for a fact is that they're a freak. That's the only thing you know for a fact. So you must have quit. The glove doesn't fit. So you must have quit. That's my thoughts on that, y'all. I am Alex and I am out. Peace.